There we go. See, that's why I've got you guys. I had my mic turned off. Now you can hear. So now I've got 500 people saying, Mark, there was no audio. I'm here. So you guys are my tech people. This is real. This is live. This is not scripted. You can see my fancy background here, so you don't have to see my messy office. I am recording a whole bunch of new videos that I'm going to be spinning out via email to all of you guys. So I will be collecting your emails in the future here so that I can do that. But for now, thanks so much for giving me the heads up that the audio was turned off. So like I was saying before, I have, for the first time, a live guest that's going to be joining me. His name is Joseph Udith Raj, and he is one of the successful candidates who has graduated, as I describe it, from our Canadian Immigration Institute. He went through, subscribed to the Express Entry complete step-by-step guide to doing it yourself, and also has been able to benefit from our phenomenal little group here. Well, I guess we're not little anymore, are we, guys? We're about 110,000. So in about 2 seconds, I'm going to add him on. But let me know, guys, where you're tuning in from, because it has been a long time since I've done one of these EE Live Q&As. And you've noticed that I have been pushing out these smaller little videos that are more bite-sized pieces of information, my tip of the days. But I knew it was time to get back into here, and I've got a bunch of questions that people have sent me, so we'll be covering those. But because I know Joseph has now successfully graduated, we're going to get him on, and we're going to talk just a little bit about his experience and learn a little bit more and celebrate his success, which I'm going to start doing more and more of. But we'll bring him on here at the beginning, and then we'll let him get over, to leave and take care of the things that he needs to do, and then we'll take the time to go through the questions in detail. So stay tuned. I'm excited. People are just piling in here. Okay, Arsalan's from Pakistan. Kabir's tuning in from India. Abhishek's Kolkata. I know how late it is there, guys. It's midnight, and you guys, I appreciate your dedication. So let me know where you're. Deepika's from India as well. So see, you guys are my faithful followers. This is awesome. Okay, let's pull Joseph in. Let's see if I can figure this out. I think we were practicing last night. There we go. All right. Say hello, Joseph.
Hello, Mark. Hi, everyone tuning in from around the globe. It's a real privilege to be a part of the Express Entry Live Q&A. And thank you. My name is Joseph Udith Raj, and as Mark fondly calls me, Parmesan cheese.
That was hilarious.
No way that popped up from. That was hilarious. Cracked me up last night.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's a really good experience. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, well, thanks for being willing to come on. Now, Joseph is one of the people who just recently got his confirmation of permanent residence. How long did it take, Joseph, for those who didn't read your post?
Well, it was amazingly fast because from application of, from the acknowledgement of receipt to the passport request, it just took 28 days and just another couple of weeks to get my passport stamped and the confirmation of permanent residence. So I'd like to thank God and everyone in the group and all over who's sent all the good wishes towards my side. I'm really happy for that. It's a really quick journey and a smooth ride. Yeah.
Very cool. Why did you decide to immigrate to Canada?
It's a combination of a couple of things. One is I've heard a lot of great things about Canada, and also right now I'm living in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm here on a work visa. I've been here since 4 years now, and the immigration rules are not the same. It's quite tough compared to earlier what it was. And on the other end, Canada is inviting a lot of immigrants and is welcoming. So, and I also stumbled upon the Facebook page of Express Entry Law and also your YouTube videos on YouTube, the Canadian Immigration Institute. So I just followed a few videos and I really found it interesting, and I felt that I could do it by myself, and it is definitely not a very expensive progress to do it. So that is why I chose Canada, and I have a few friends living over there in Toronto, and all of them are really happy about the country. Hardly heard any bad things about the country. So yeah, I'm really excited to begin a new life over there.
Awesome. That's so excited. So you're headed to Toronto, are you?
Yes, yes, I'm headed to Toronto. Yes,
Wonderful.
I have a few friends over there.
So how long have you been a member of the Express Entry Law private Facebook group?
Interesting that you asked that, because when I joined the group, there was I think around 10,000 members, and
Oh,
now
wow.
I've seen it grow into more than 110,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably February 2017.
Yep.
Yeah, almost
Wow.
a year now. Yeah,
One of the pioneers, one of the long-standing faithful. Well, yeah, that is so wonderful. That's so awesome. So what was your comprehensive ranking system score?
yeah. I got 449.
Okay.
449 was my.
Excellent score. Very good. So you also made the decision to purchase the Express Entry Complete Step-by-Step Guide to Doing It Yourself. Why in the world
Yes.
would you buy that course? What motivated you to actually purchase a subscription to it?
Okay, compared to many others, I'm really privileged and very lucky that my case is not as complicated as some of the other applications are. I'm a single applicant, and I've been working as a manager in the retail services industry for around a couple of years now. So I just went through the eligibility program, and just have a look whether I'm eligible or no. And then I got to know that yeah, my CRS score is 449, and back then you just needed, even in November, I'm sure you must have remembered that it was around 413 the CRS point.
Yes.
Yeah, so I felt that I really stood a good chance to get the PR. So I was almost certain that I'll be doing everything by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, when you're doing everything by yourself, you need to have that sense of confidence, that sense of surety.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to follow your videos and all, and in that you said that a simple mistake can turn things haywire. So that is why I did not want to take any chances, and I just needed the professional advice. So, and since I was doing it by myself, I thought, yeah, why not just, and it's the best thing that I like about it. It's just a monthly subscription program. You can just unsubscribe whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought, yeah, I'll just subscribe to that, just have a look, get some expertise from, and that too from an immigration lawyer, not even an advisor. So yeah, I thought, yeah, the information is going to be 100% correct, and it turned out the right way. And yeah, I'm really happy right now. Thank you, Mark, for releasing such a lovely program.
Well, I can tell you that myself and everybody else who's tuning in live here recognizes how beneficial the group is. We're just one big family. We all help each other. And that's the thing that I like best about this. The purpose of the group is not for people to, me to convince people to hire me to retain them. It's to hire me as their lawyer or to purchase my guide, even though I know that the guide is freaking awesome and can help anyone. I push that aside because that's not what this is about. It's about serving and helping other people realize their dream of coming to Canada. And every single time, people like you who post in our group, thanks for all the help. I've got my magical confirmation of permanent residence. I'm on my way to Canada. It makes everything that we're doing here totally worth it. And I look at myself and I think, there's only so many hours in the day. I can only meet with so many Josephs, every day. And trust me, guys, my consults are booked every day full. But if that was all I did, the influence and the way that I could help people is so limited. But through this group and this video, and then even creating the course, I can have the ability to help people, it doesn't matter where they live, all over the world, as many as can tune in and, and the monthly subscription, you can stay in as long as you want. But, so it was actually worth it, was it?
Yes, and I was actually worried where the monthly subscription would. The second month would start on, but there was a timely reminder from you. I got an email saying that your monthly subscription is about to end. So, would you like to resubscribe? Or you're free to unsubscribe if you've done using our services. So that was a really good reminder.
What?
Um,
Are you
yeah,
are
and
you saying that I wasn't tricking you to try and stay in longer to make more money from you? I actually reminded you. Do you really want to continue? Wow. Huh. Maybe I'm not the money grubbing lawyer that everybody thinks lawyers are. Anyways,
no. You are definitely not. I mean, who does that? Who creates? Who has the time to create a Facebook group? Who has the time to answer on each and every post these days, and everything for free? And I'm really, really grateful for everything that you've done. Thank you so much, Mark.
awesome.
And the main thing is about your program, the details. It's very detailed. I mean, each step by step, what you have to enter into the portal, and the main tricky portion is to upload the documents. So yeah, because it doesn't show you a preview of the documents that you upload in it. So yeah, that was the main thing that helped me a lot. And also a lot of not only the step by step things, you also added a lot of reference letters, sample reference letters, how the medical documents should be,
Mhm.
and yeah, a lot of additional links also were there. So it was really helpful. Thank you, Mark.
Awesome. Well, I am so grateful that you were able to come on here. I think it's fantastic that you guys are able to benefit from one another. I'm excited for you and your future. And when are you planning on traveling?
I plan to go to India from here because I'm basically from Hyderabad, the southern part of India.
Hmm.
So I'll be going to India this month, sorry, next month, April 20th. And from there, I'll just spend some quality time with the family. And then probably after a couple of months, maybe in July,
Hmm.
I'll be planning to land in Toronto.
Awesome. So cool. Thanks so much, Joseph. It was awesome having you join me. Don't you guys give me a thumbs up if you think this was a fantastic idea to bring Joseph on to share his story.
Oh, yes. All of you guys, just give your thumbs ups and just comment down below and just make sure that Mark is encouraged enough that he gets more Parmesan cheeses in the next videos.
You know what? I think I have it. Just check this out, guys. I'm gonna put this on the screen. Here's the announcement that I had for Joseph there. See? Look at the top left, Parmesan cheese. It is absolutely hilarious. I have no clue how it got there because it should have read, let me pull it off here. It should have read this. It should have welcome
Yes.
my first live guest, but instead it said Parmesan cheese, which is nice on spaghetti. I like Parmesan cheese on my spaghetti, but
Oh,
that is
yes.
awesome. So there you go. Well, awesome. Thanks so much, Joseph. I really appreciate you joining us. And
Awesome.
and you take care, my friend.
Thank you so much, and I wish all the best to you and all the other members who are in this process of Express Entry. Lots of light, lots of love, and yeah, just keep at it, and you will be successful. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Well, there we go. Okay, I'm going to let Joseph go here. Thanks so much, Joseph. We will talk again soon. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, guys. So my first guest, I think that was totally awesome. It was unbelievable. I'm so happy. And you know what? My intention is to get, because every week there's someone new that's getting their landing documents. So you reach out to me. Yeah, I just love to have people on. Now, before we jump into answering all of these awesome questions that I've got here, and there were a lot that came through, obviously, because it's been a while since I've done a Q&A like this. I just wanted to let you guys know about something that happened, a consult that happened immediately before I came on here. So I had a consult with one of our members. She is from South Africa, and she last year was drawn with, I think, 419 points. So you remember the rounds of invitations on May 31st, it was 413. But she was drawn, she received her ITA at 419. And then when it was nearing the end of her process and she worked through and did her application on her own, she got her application returned because the police clearance, and I can't remember if it was Korea, she had gotten the wrong police clearance. She'd relied on help from a friend. Even the police authority in Korea, South Korea, had said, go to the consulate. It's easier to do it that way. And the consulate said, yeah, no problem. Anyway, so I'm going to have this client come on in one of our future ones just to talk about her experience. But guys, the consequences for her were devastating. Because not only did she get 1 year older, but the reality is, and losing 5 more comprehensive ranking system points. But what happened is you've seen the totals climb and rise. And so there's tons of people on our, there's a tons of people that are on our group who are constantly posting, it's easy. You don't need to hire anyone. You can do it yourself. And I totally respect that. But please, please don't give the impression that, I should have brought some water here with me. Don't give the impression that it's just a piece of cake, because one slight mistake, guys, and your dream of coming to Canada can be shattered. So that's why I created the guide. And, Joseph, I didn't get him on just to plug the guide. That wasn't the purpose of it. But that's why I created this Express Entry Complete Step-by-Step guide to doing it yourself. I created it because I knew I wouldn't be able to help everyone. I knew that not everybody wanted to necessarily book a consult or could afford it maybe. But this guide, especially the monthly subscription, you can jump in, you can get the information you need, and you can jump out. And like Joseph said, if you feel like you are unhappy with it in any way, or it doesn't meet your needs, I refund your money. It's 100% guaranteed. But I created this to help people so that they would not be caught in a situation where they make simple mistakes that could easily have been avoided. And so I'll plug this and I'll plug it and I'll plug it. But this is the reason, guys. This is the solution. Although I love when you book consults with me, I absolutely love it. I love representing you completely. If you're looking for just a little bit of help and you want to navigate it yourself, this is here to help you. All right. Enough of that. All right. So, guys, you can see we've got a new background here behind me. This is hilarious. I'm going to show you guys. Look at this. If I can, my camera. Oh, there we go. See? It's just basically a presentation kind of banner thing, and I've draped some cloth over it because I'm doing these videos, and I wanted to have a little bit more of a professional background that would work and just look a little bit better. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. All right, where can you find the guide? Okay, I'll just post this really quick if I can find it. Let's see here. I've got a ton of different things going on right there. So guys, that's it. Alkesh said, where can I find the guide? So there it is. So that's how you can access it. All you have to do is type in CanadianImmigrationInstitute.com and it will take you to where you can subscribe to the guide. All right. Thanks guys for asking. Okay. So we'll click this off. We'll move this out of the way. I'll leave this. Well, let's see. Maybe I'll just stick it up there for just a little bit so that you guys can see it. All right. Now, we've got a bunch of people who ask questions. I'm going to try to go through those as quick as possible. And like I said, Zohab says, you said it right. One need legal advice. Okay, Zohab. Yes. If you ever feel like you need just to have a little bit more advice and you've got a tricky situation, obviously I love having people reach out to book consults. Okay, Azine says, I didn't mean for the course to kind of dominate this, but Azine says, when is the right time to subscribe for the guide? Well, the reality is, guys, I honestly believe that right at the beginning is the best time because you can learn everything right at the beginning and then you can unsubscribe if you want to. And then if you're waiting for an ITA, you can resubscribe back in and then use it to actually navigate through each phase. So, let's see. I wasn't going to do this. I don't want this to be all about the guide and purchase the guide, even though I know how much it's going to help you guys. But I'm just going to jump on here and I'm just going to share my awful messy screen with you guys. Hey, it's not too bad. I'm going to blow this up. Here's the guide right here. And this is the landing page for it. You can see here that it's built into modules. And so it covers everything from the very beginning, learning the basics, to preparing to submit your Express Entry profile. And I'm going to blow this up a little bit bigger so that everybody can see it. But this is the curriculum, and they're little individual pieces. It shows how long the videos are, but everything from preparing to submit your profile all the way through to completing your profile here, And it's built into each section, each actual section that the government has within your profile, within your MyCIC account. And it goes through the whole process all the way through. And after you get your ITA, how to complete your EAPR, and a section devoted exclusively, guys, to right here, the document checklist, and then submitting it and dealing with interactions with IRCC. So, all right, I'm done talking about that. I'm going to get back here where you guys can see me, and hopefully that answers the question. And you can, you can kind of work your magic and check it out. And if you don't like it or you feel it doesn't help you, then I'll give you your money back. All right, guys. So there you go. So you guys can log in. There's lots of questions about the guide. I'm going to set that aside because this is designed to help you guys. So as far as questions go, I'm going to first address those that were sent in by email. And then if we have a little bit of time at the end, then we will, I'll open it up for people that are attending live. Okay. So the first question, this one is from Tamirlin. And the question is, hello, Mark. For federal skilled worker program, I must have 1 year continuous full-time work experience. If I have paid 8-week vacation during the year, will it be an issue for having continuous work experience? Okay. So this is one where it is entirely, it's entirely up to the immigration officer whether or not they're going to accept your leave, that 2 months of paid vacation, as being continuous. So it's up to that officer. There is no deciding line. But there are a couple things that I can tell you because I specifically asked this question to immigration. If you are on a leave that is unpaid, in other words, you take a 1-month vacation or a 3-week vacation and it's unpaid, then there's a significant likelihood they're not going to count that. Now, there's exceptions to everything. But so off the bat, if it's not paid, you're not being paid for that time away, then it's likely it's not going to count. But just because you are paid doesn't necessarily mean that they will count it either. So, for example, I've had people that have been on maternity leave or paternity leave, and those individuals have been off for 3, 4, 5 months, but they're still paid. Well, the reality is that I know is not going to be considered as being continuous. So if you're trying to get 1 year, which is the minimum level that you have to meet the entry criteria for the federal skilled worker program, if you're trying to meet that 1 year, then you need to make sure that it is continuous. Once you have that 1 year, then you've met the minimum eligibility, and then, you can bit and piece together time if you need to. But yeah, I wouldn't take any chances. So Timmerlin, the answer to the question is it's up to the officer. I can't say 100% if they would accept 8 weeks. I think anything longer than a month that you're away from the office, it's going to be, or away from your employment, it's going to be pushing the envelope. Okay, so great question. We'll set that one aside. Next question. Let's see. This one is from Parth. And Parth, it's a little bit longer. Parth says, thanks for your EE Live Q&A. He gives a little bit of background about himself. And then he says, after viewing your video, most of my doubts for express entry have been resolved. Well, that's awesome. And guess how much Parth paid for those videos? 0. It's all free, guys. However, I'm stuck up with the documents for settlement funds. Interestingly enough, guess where all the information and guidance on settlement funds is? Right here. But in this live Q&A, I'm going to answer the question. He says, please review my following concern in this regards. The following documents are accepted as fund settlement for the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, Occupations in Demand, guaranteed investment certificates, term deposits, and a bunch of other things. He says in India, there is no such yellow highlighted option of deposit is available in any of banks. So can you please advise both the above said option for the fund is linked with the fixed deposit term, same as available option all banks at India. Okay. So the key, guys, every country has different rules with their banking, and each of the provincial nominee programs have their own rules. The most important thing, if you have an option, is to ensure that the funds are actually in your checking account or an account where you have the funds liquid and available. So that is the safest way, in your name, fully accessible to use when you immigrate. If that's not possible, or if taking the money out, you're going to get a huge tax hit, then you have to show through your bank that those funds are easily convertible and that they're available for your use. And no matter what the program is, whether it's the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Programs, or whatever they may be, you have to follow exactly what is being listed. So you can see the list that's given for the Saskatchewan program. It's not necessarily exclusive. So you guys, you can be creative, but you have to maintain what I call the spirit of the law, or the intention. So what are they getting at? Essentially, they're getting at, do you really have those funds available to you? So Parth, that's the emphasis. That's what you need to focus on. And when it comes to deposit accounts, it just has to be available for you, and make sure that you can demonstrate that. Okay? All right. Next question. This one is coming from Abhishek. And Abhishek says, I've been following your posts and videos for a long time now. Thanks for doing such an awesome job for us. I have a question for you. CIC website says that the work experience has to be a minimum of 1 year continuous. What do you know? Another question along those lines. Can you explain the continuous part for clarity? Does it mean 1 year in the same job continuously, or can it be 6 plus 6 months or so on? Well, continuous means in a row. Okay? And the rules, and now is the time for a good teaching opportunity. So I'm going to try to shift back again. I'm going to share my screen with you here. I'm going to blow this up. And yes, you can see. That's good. So we're going to go to the Federal Skilled Worker Program, and we're going to look at the eligibility. And this is really what is the most important part. So you can see here what constitutes skilled work. We can even make this a little bit bigger. I think that's pretty good. Well, maybe even a little bit bigger. I want everybody to be able to see it. So skilled work experience right here, you can see that it must be in the same type of job as your primary knock. So essentially, to get credit for it, it all has to be under the same knock for the purposes of eligibility for the Federal Skilled Worker Program. That's what we're talking about, guys. Once you meet this eligibility, then if you have other work experience that you want to count towards your comprehensive ranking system score, you can do it. And it doesn't have to be in the same knock. But to meet the minimum eligibility, this is what you need. It has to have been within the last 10 years. It has to have been paid. It has to be skilled, knock 0A or B in the 2016 now. And that's one thing within my guide. I haven't yet updated the knock. My knock still says 2011, but you guys can figure it out. It's now the 2016. And here's where it comes down to it. 1 year, which is 1,560 hours, but it has to be for a year. You can't accumulate those too fast. It has to be continuous. And so what does continuous mean? Here we go. A full-time job at one job, at least 30 hours per week for 12 months. It could be equal amount in part-time. So you could work for 24 months straight, and that's continuous, which means in a row with no breaks. Full-time at more than one job, you could be working 2 jobs at the same time that are both in the same knock up here for 12 months. So each job combined totals 30 hours. And that's really it. So as long as you are doing that, you're going to get credit for your work experience. But if you have breaks in time, that leads to my first question, or it harkens back to the first question that I answered. You're gonna run into some issues. All right. So there you go, Abhishek. Okay, next one. This one is from Bharat, and Bharat says, "Hi, hello, Mark. I have been working for the same employer for the last 4 years. Awesome. I started as a sales clerk in 2013 while I was pursuing the final year of my graduation, part-time. Later, I was promoted to the destination of a supervisor, which signifies my knock." Okay, so that's the primary knock. So I have mentioned work experience from 2014 onwards. Nonetheless, do I have to put that 1 year of experience in my personal history? So what he's referring to is the time that was spent previously that he isn't going to claim work experience for. Well, the answer is no. You only need to list the work experience in your work history that you want to claim points for. But the question here is, do you need to list it in your personal history? So there's 2 parts, guys. There's the work history section, and then there's the personal history. Work experience or work history, you're only putting work history in there that you want to claim comprehensive ranking system points for. If, however, in your personal history, you're listing everything back 10 years. So you're listing, and absolutely in this case, you're going to be listing that. And if you are going to school and working at the same time, I list them both as 2 separate entries. All right. Great question, Barat. All right. This one's from Lewis. Lewis says, Dear Mr. Mark Holthe, my question is regarding my work. I've got my salary for first 2 years during my employment. I know this one, by cash. And from last year, I've been getting it into my bank account. So the first year cash, last year is bank account. I have salary slips for the period when I got paid by cash and account statements for bank transfers, but can this create any problems? Should I provide both or just latest statements or none? Please also guide me on how many pay stubs to include, if I should include any. And so, Lewis, you are in a phenomenal shape. This is so awesome. Well, all you're claiming is 2 years. So I would actually include everything. I would put your pay stubs in. I'd put your deposits. I would throw it all in. It's not that I don't trust immigration, but guys, the reality is I don't trust them. I want to make sure that I've given them everything possible in order to be able to make the decision I want them to make. If we leave some ambiguity, some uncertainty, then it's up to the officer to make a judgment, and that judgment could not go in your favor. It might be something you don't want to get. In other words, a removal of that work experience. So the key, guys, is in this case, I would include it, especially if you're receiving cash. And I would include it for the whole time. Put all 24 in. I know it's crazy, and I know that immigration, the officers are probably watching this and thinking, Mark, why are you telling them to create more work for me? Well, it's because express entry is so darn volatile. It's cruel. It's heartless. It doesn't give any mercy. If you guys showed mercy, officers, and there was an ability for people to fix something that was missing, then they wouldn't have to provide everything in the world. But until that day happens, I'm going to encourage people to be more inclusive with documents than I would ever have done in the past. Okay, great question, Lewis. Okay, this one's from Chris. Hi, Mr. Holthe. I have a full-time work experience of 5 years in the same NOC, and on weekends or public holidays, I work as a part-timer at a theater to make some extra bucks. Cool. I'm not expecting to claim points for this part-time experience, but I don't want to hide anything from CIC either. I know I can mention this in my personal history section, but if I do mention it, will this cause any confusion for a visa officer? Should I write a letter of explanation for this? Okay, in this one, Chris, I can safely say no. You do not need to explain it in any way, shape, or form. Include in your work history the work history you want to claim. In your personal history, list exactly what you've been doing, including this part-time extra work to make a few bucks. Good on you. But you don't need to provide a letter of explanation for that. There's no need. All right. Great question. Okay. This one here is from Surendra. Surendra says, Dear Mark, it's been a year since I'm a member of your EE Live Facebook group. Very cool, Surendra. Thanks for sticking it out with me for so long. I really like the feedback you give us on this page. I also watch your EE Live sessions from time to time. Great. I'm glad. Well, I'm curious if you could add my question to your upcoming live schedule. You made it on, Surendra. Okay. I made my express entry profile in January this year, but I'm a little confused about the document required for experience, as I am self-employed and working in my organization in NOC 0632. The salary paid to me is in cash, but the profit share is debited to my account. Please guide me to solve this query. All right. Surendra's from India. Okay, Surendra, we're going to go and we're going to share my screen again. I'm going to blow this up and I'm going to go to CIC completeness check EE. And let's see if we can find it. So right here is the answer. And we're going to go here and we're going to find work experience. And we're going to take a look, and I'm going to shrink down some of these ones here. I've got a few things operating on my desktop that you guys can't see. This here is the policy guidelines that the officers use when they're determining whether or not your work experience can be counted. So this is the process that you have to follow. And I'm not going to go into how it works for everyone else, but suffice it to say that these are the things that they expect in a normal reference letter. Well, if you're self-employed, it's self-serving to produce your own letter. In other words, you can see right here, self-declared main duties or affidavits are not acceptable proofs of self-employed work experience. So you can't just write a letter for yourself, but they do provide this explanation right here. So you need to prove that you're actually self-employed, that you operate your own business, or there's some other evidence to show that you are an independent operation. Then you need to provide evidence of your income. And so one of the best ways of doing it, obviously, is to deposit into your account. But when you've got cash, then if you were, say, a dentist or another professional who works for people, who pay them, who has clients, it's pretty easy to provide documentation from third-party individuals indicating what you did for them and the payments that they made. So that shows proof of you actually working and getting paid. And so anything that you have that fits into this type of a description, where from the company that you're working for, you didn't give me a lot of explanation, so I'm not exactly sure how your employment is set up. But you want something from any third party that can confirm that you actually did provide a service and that you were paid for it. And the rest of the stuff that I've listed here is a good guideline for you. At the end of the day, you can provide a letter of explanation as well to just tie it all together so that the officer understands what you're providing and how it actually explains your self-employed work experience. Okay? So hopefully that one there was helpful to you. All right. So that was surrender, self-employed work experience. Okay. This one is from Nematula. And it says, hello, sir. I have one question. I'm an electrical engineer and my GPA is 2.1 and I have some F grade, but I have improved my F grades and now, okay. So, and he says he's improved on them, but now he's asking, will the F grade and the GPA matter in express entry or not? Simple question. Great question. I don't think I've had this one before, but grades do not matter. They're irrelevant. As long as you pass your course, you get your educational credential, and that educational credential is assessed, then you do not need to worry about at all getting how bad your grades were, as long as you pass. So great question. Thanks for asking that one. Okay, the last one of my written ones right here. This one is it's pretty long, so we'll see if we can get through this. Okay, so Omar says, this is Romario. So this is Romario from Jamaica. Hey, cool. Romario, did you know that my son is going down to the Caribbean? He's going to spend some time possibly in the Trinidad and Tobago, but mostly in Suriname. I'd like to know if anyone has ever been to Suriname before. A Dutch-speaking colony. That's where my son's headed for his mission to learn Dutch. Firstly, let me say thanks for all the information you've shared on Facebook Live as well as your YouTube page. You are very welcome, Omar. He says, now, I literally just received my ITA 20 minutes prior to sending this message, so I'm quite excited. That is awesome, Omar. Congratulations. That is so cool. So that was March 26th, Monday at 11:24 a.m. So just yesterday. Very cool. And you guys, did you see that? What day did the draw happen on? A Monday. There is no system. There is no set time for draws to be issued. You know, it's to a large extent, it's random. It's whenever the government wants to do it. Okay. So here's the question. I have a joint account with my mother and grandmother for way more than the amount I need for my family to show as proof of funds. They've agreed to assist me with the funds needed for the immigration process. Okay, so these are family members. We've had some discussion in our group about the legitimacy of getting money from friends, and I've always taken the position that friends generally loan money. They don't just give money, especially when you're a single applicant and you need almost $13,000 Canadian. So friends don't typically just give you $13,000 Canadian, but family does. Now, I'm not saying that all friends who give you money are going to be disqualified and you won't be able to count that money. That's not the case. But if I was an officer, I would ask a lot more questions about whether those funds were really a gift or a loan. But that's not the case for Omar. Omar here has got family, mother and grandmother. And I keep saying Omar, but it's Romario. My apologies. I went into the institution to transfer the amount needed to an account held solely in my name. However, I was advised that based on the large amount, there's a significant associated transfer tax. I was also advised that based on the nature of the account, I have full control and authority to act on the account, and it would be best to leave the funds in that account and show as my own. The representative also advised that they do these types of letters for clients all the time, and there would be no problem getting a letter stating that the account is in my name as well as the other required criteria. My issue is I don't want to fall into the misrepresentation trap if they were to not disclose that other people are on the account and it is found out at a later date. Can you give me some advice on how to proceed? Romario, explain everything. Provide a letter of explanation. Get gift deeds. Now, they don't necessarily need to be a formal gift deed, but just confirm. Get your mother and your grandmother to provide a letter. Get it a sworn statement that the funds are unequivocally for your use to immigrate to Canada. You are already on as a joint bank holder, so you have full control over those funds. But I would just include some letters. I would also get the bank letter as well. So go through the process and include all of that evidence that I've talked about. Get the bank letter. Get it as close as possible to what the government's looking for. And so I will share my screen once again. Actually, I wonder if I still have it. Yes, I can do this. Give me 1 second, guys. This is a learning process. I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to type in here, proof of funds. There it is, right here. And so you guys know that this is the letter that you have to provide. Printed on letterhead, includes your name, your account number, the date the account was opened, the current balance, as well as the average balance for the past 6 months. I would, ensure that you have a letter from the bank that's as close to that as physically possible, and then provide the other evidence. So, for example, from your mother and grandmother, get them to provide a sworn statement that the funds are unequivocally for your use, and that there are, that they're available for you. And then if you want to provide a letter of explanation yourself, then that's okay too, as just an add-on. And then bundle it all together in the proof of funds section and upload it. All right. Great question. Well, guys, we're at 42 minutes and 54 seconds. So guess what that means? I'm looking on here and I see 95 comments. Okay. Well, starting from Maud Sarim here, who said, hi, hi, Maud. You can now post your questions, and I'm going to devote the next 15 minutes to answering questions live. Who does that, guys? Who answers live questions? I do. I don't know if anyone else does. Lots of people put out some fancy videos on YouTube with all of their tips and strategies. But the reality is, I'm doing this right off the cuff, no prep. Okay, now one thing I'm going to put a caveat, because the first one, clearly Himanshu was waiting to post this in here. Don't ask for, don't post big, huge, long questions, because I want to make sure that people have time to actually get their questions asked. So let's see if I can answer this one. Okay, Himanshu, it's a little bit longer, but that's okay. Okay, so question 1, proof of funds. Can I take a gift deed from my spouse if she will be not accompanying? Yes, you can, but you just need to make sure that it's very clearly set out that the funds are for you. So a gift deed does work, but it obviously, and it's essential. If your spouse was coming with you and you both were joint tenants on your bank account, then it doesn't matter. Obviously, you're both coming, you're both using the funds to settle. But if your spouse isn't coming, then yeah, I would definitely get a gift deed just to make sure that it is that the government knows the funds are for you as well. And at the end of the day, you need to show that you've got proof of funds for all dependents anyways, whether they're accompanying you or not. So it won't be an issue. Okay, I will be showing my spouse not accompanying to boost our score. Yes, you can do that. I wanted to know, what steps do I need to take to bring my spouse and 3-year-old daughter to Canada after? Okay, so basically once you become a permanent resident and you land as a permanent resident in Canada, you can then sponsor your spouse through the family class. It takes about a year, about 12 months, and your spouse and your dependent are included with it. So that's the process. We do those things all the time for our clients, and I'm actually working on a do-it-yourself guide to spousal sponsorship. But at this stage, we're just I'm focusing on express entry till I get this all set up. Okay. All right. Next question is Kabir. He says, Dear Mr. Holthe, I had a question on the point calculator for the work experience. Can we club points for both the federal skilled worker out of 100 and the CRS calculator out of 1200 in multiple skilled knock codes, A, 0A, or B? For example, if I have 2 years in knock A and 1 year in knock B, can I count it as 3 years work experience for both the calculators? Thank you very much. This is actually really interesting because all you're doing initially is meeting the eligibility requirements for one of the permanent resident programs. So for most of you, it'll be the federal skilled worker program. So once you meet the minimum 1 year continuous skilled work experience that's paid in, knock 0A or B, then once you've met that threshold, you will absolutely get credit for other knocks, other work experience. So if you have just 1 year and then you have accumulated another 2 years in different occupations, those occupations have to be continuous still for the purposes of the federal skilled worker program. So the work experience you're claiming has to be continuous. But when it comes to claiming work experience in other occupations, you can do that. And so when you say club together, I think you mean just kind of combine them. Yes, it is entirely possible. And if you have Canadian work experience, the Canadian experience class doesn't require continuous work in the same knock. So as long as it's skilled, you can combine work experience within the previous 3 years to form your minimum 1 year. All right. Great question. And guys, sometimes when you're using the Come to Canada wizard, actually, do you know what? It probably makes sense to show you guys what Kabir is talking about. So if I go back in here and I'm going to share my screen again, I'm going to type in Come to Canada tool, CIC, and it's this one as a skilled worker, skilled immigrant. This is what they're talking about. Sometimes when you are entering, you're entering information into here, the wizard isn't totally smart. So if there are distinctions and you're checking your eligibility, you're filling in the answers, it doesn't really give a lot of flexibility. And so you can't rely entirely on this to determine whether or not you're eligible. Also, guys, this one here, the CRS tool, is another way that you can actually calculate your comprehensive ranking system score. So this one is for the comprehensive ranking system score for determining what your CRS is. This one here is determining your eligibility. So make sure that you pay attention to that because those are a little bit different. All right. Okay. Next question. How are we doing for time here? Pretty good. Okay. Oh man, guys, you know what? I got this one piece of my brace that's really bothering my cheek. The sacrifices I make for you guys. Okay. Moving forward. Iman says, hello, Mark. I am showing my fund in American dollars. Can the exchange rate affect my balance after submitting my application? Well, Iman, I can tell you that if you are showing your funds in American dollars are worth way more than Canadian. So if you've got 13,000 US, it's going to be pretty good. But at the end of the day, yes, exchange rates will impact. If you're right on the balance, right on the very cusp, and you're supposed to demonstrate that you have 12,000 whatever it is now, just under $13,000 Canadian, then I would recommend that you have a little bit more to cover that buffer. Good question. Okay. You guys stop reposting your questions. Okay. Jasdeep, when is the next discount coming? It's not coming, my friend. I have, those discounts I've realized are something, those were one-time things that are not happening again. So there won't be any discounts, guys. The reality is I know the course is worth every penny that people pay for it, including my consultations. And in fact, my consultation fee, I will let you in on something. I'm actually going to start increasing it because my time is becoming more and more precious and there's more and more people that want it. And so the only way you can compensate for that is to increase rates. So my individual consult fees are actually going to go up. Right now they're $200 for a 30-minute consult. Probably in the next month or so here, I'm going to be bumping that up to $250. All right. But the course is not getting adjusted at all. You've got two options. It's $97 for a month US for 1 whole month of access. Guys, that is dirt cheap. Those of you who want just to have the comfort of having it there and having a lifetime access because you're just not sure if you're going to be using it off and on, or some of you out there who I know watch this that are immigration consultants or lawyers that want access to it, you can pay for a lifetime access. And that's really what it's there for. People who want the benefit of having the continual updates for life can have a one-time purchase of $497 US and it's yours. So there you go, guys. Okay. Profulit says, Mark, why there are no PPR emails since 26th of February? Any particular reason? You guys are so impatient. It is unbelievable. Before Express Entry existed, it would take often a minimum of 2 years to process a permanent resident application. The government has said that 80% of the applications will be processed within 6 months. That's 6 months. Just because you see online someone's posting that they got it in 28 days, Joseph, or some of you other people that are getting their responses quicker, you can't judge. You can't waste your time worrying about those things. Every officer is different. Every officer has different caseloads that they're working through, and it just don't read more into it than it is. All right. So the answer is why they're not sending it out? Because it was a weekend. People since February the 26th, we've had almost a month that's passed. There are emails going out. And as you've seen, they've already been posted. So, so it just depends. We can speculate all day. Is there a massive fraud issue that a visa office is dealing with, that they've suspended processing because there's just a whole bunch of fraudulent applications and now they're trying to sift through and see if there's any other people that are also committing fraud? Maybe that's the reason. Like there is no way for anyone to know, at least not in my position or yours. Okay. Iman says, hello again. I had 2 jobs in the same time, but I'm claiming points for only 1 job as work experience. Should I still mention both in the personal history? Yes. Okay. Rinky says, hi, Mark. I really hope you answer my question. You're in luck, my friend, because you were on. My 1 year's work experience as quality control tech will be completed on October the 30th, 2018 with 430 points. But my work experience, you're in Canada. Okay. But my work permit expires on November the 14th. I am also planning on applying for a work permit after I file for Express Entry. My question is, will I still be able to work for my company? By the way, I paid yearly with all benefits, including RSP. Please kindly answer my question. Thanks in advance. Rinky, if you're on an open work permit and it can't be extended, I think you're in a whole host of trouble. I think your company needs to obtain a labor market impact assessment if they want you to keep working. At 430 points, there's no guarantee you're going to get that invitation to apply. And if on October the 30th, there was a draw on that very date, so when you completed your 1 year and you submitted your profile and got drawn, then it might be possible to get your Express Entry application submitted if you had everything in order before November the 14th and get your confirmation of acceptance, which would then allow you to apply for something called a bridging open work permit. It may be possible, but your timelines are so tight, I think it's extremely risky. I think your company needs to get a labor market impact assessment, or you need to have some other way of extending your work permit that doesn't require that. And I don't know a lot of details about your work permit, but be aware that it's really risky. Okay. Araz says, I work in a bank in the Philippines. Do I have a chance to qualify for Express Entry? Araz, if you want to know whether you qualify or not, I recommend you, let's see if I can find it here, guys. I'll recommend this to you right here. And I will also click on this right here, if I can find it right there. So I'll also add this on for you. And because I am a helpful soul, I will go back here to this page and I will tell you to go to this website, which is the Come to Canada tool for immigrants, and fill out this eligibility assessment. And then go here to the comprehensive ranking system and determine what your comprehensive ranking system score will be. And finally, you can go to rounds of invitations for Express Entry and go down here and take a look at all the previous scores and see if your score is in range. So there you go. So that's what I recommend for you, my friend. Okay. We're just about out of time here. Shivam says, hi, Mark, does a part-time job besides a full-time job lead to a negative impact on one's profile? I'm not quite sure, Shivam, what you're looking at or what you're concerned with, but no, it doesn't impact. As long as you meet the minimum requirements. So as long as you can show that you have full-time work, 30 hours a week, skilled, paid, continuous. If you've got another part-time job on the side, that's more hours, it doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Dimanche says, hello, Mark. Today I wanted to know about police clearances. My wife was working in Iraq in 2014 for 11 months when I had approached for the police clearance through their embassy. They're not giving any update. I've been sending multiple emails and calls, still no progress. Is this case, do we have any alternative way? Dimanche, this is it's a nightmare. I've dealt with this situation. One of my clients for Iraq, we actually had to engage someone called a handler to go and obtain the police clearance for my client. I can't tell you, Iraq's a nightmare, but you have an obligation to provide it unless the government waives that requirement. And at this stage, I'm not aware of it being waived. Okay, Kasanka says, hello, Mark. Please advise with insufficient proof of funds. At the moment, actually, I'm going to get rid of these because you guys don't need to look at those anymore. Please advise with insufficient funds at the moment and a score of 388. Is there any way to apply for PR? Thank you in advance. It is really unlikely. Some of the PNPs might have programs that are available to you based on occupations in demand, but you need to have funds to be able to settle regardless. And so if you don't have those funds, it's highly unlikely that you're going to be able to qualify through any program unless you have a job offer from a Canadian company, which obviously is not easy to get. Okay, GN says, hi, I'm a dentist, worked in a clinic for 6 months, paid in cash, and then he changed to another clinic, and he was on probation for 3 months, and now he will deposit his salary in the account. Can I consider valid proof? Okay, you got a lot of things going on there, GN, and it's probably not something that I can answer in the comment section, but your work experience has to be 12 months continuous. Whether you're on probation or not is irrelevant, but during those 3 months, if that probation was unpaid, then you're not, then you can't claim it. If, however, the employer just held the money back and paid you at the end of those 3 months, but actually did pay you fully, then that might still work. So you just have to make sure you're meeting those minimum requirements. All right. Rizwan says, how I get political asylum. I'm from Pakistan. Rizwan, this political asylum is not something that we cover within Express Entry. And so I can't answer that within this group. You would need to, and I actually don't do any asylum work, so I can't answer your question. All right, but good luck. There are other lawyers out there in Canada that are really good at that type of thing, and I recommend that you just do a search and see if you can find one. Okay, all right, last question. This one is Sanjay. He says, hello, Mr. Holthe, can I apply for a visitor visa after I receive acknowledgement of receipt for an open work permit? Open work permit, acknowledgement of receipt, visitor visa. I'm assuming that you're maybe outside of Canada. I don't know why you would apply for a visitor visa if you had an open work permit that you'd submitted. Either you're working or you're not. If you're trying to get to Canada faster and there's a lengthy processing for your work permit, then more than likely they're not going to approve the visitor visa for lack of, genuineness. They probably feel like you are going to go and work in Canada because you actually have a work permit application that you've submitted. So I don't have a lot of information about your situation, Sanjay, but if you've got a work permit pending and then you apply for a TRV or a visitor visa, it will have an impact on it. All right, guys, this is the end of this EE Live Q&A. We're just wrapping it up here. I want to remind everyone, as always, let's see if I can find it here now. Now it's disappeared into thin air. Right here, this is the host, or I should say the sponsor of these EE Live Q&As, my Express Entry Complete Step-by-Step Guide to Doing It Yourself. And I'm just going to go down here again. And if you want to access it, you can do so right here at this link. Thanks so much for everyone who contributed. Thanks to my special guest, Joseph, who was totally awesome and came and talked about his experience. And I'm looking forward to having more live guests come and join us. Thanks for all you guys. Sorry I wasn't able to get to all of your questions, but I hope this helps. And always remember that you can, and I'll share my screen once again here. You can go right here. Let's see if I've got it. I'll pull up my YouTube here so you guys can see. You can go to the Canadian Immigration Institute, and right here, if you go to videos, you can see all of the previous videos that I've done, including my video testimonials from other people like Joseph who've used the course and it has benefited them. I've got a bunch of those here, but all of my old and past ones are all listed here. And I'm slowly going through and updating them with specific information so you know what they're actually relating to. But yeah, always remember that you can go here and subscribe. And if I go here, I don't think I can. It's too big. You can search for it. You'll find it. All right, let's close this out. And I'm going to go back here. So there you have it, guys. Hope you liked this episode. This is Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher, Mark Holthe, signing off as I wish you guys all the best as you're navigating this crazy process we call express entry. See you later, guys.